Hello and welcome. If you're a man who's ever felt confused, frustrated, or even misled about what really draws women in, you're not alone. For years, society has handed men a script. Be successful, be attractive, be generous, and love will follow. It's a comforting message because it's structured, measurable, and seems fair. But what if that script is incomplete? Or worse, entirely misleading? In today's video, we're going to explore the deeper, often unspoken truths behind what truly sparks attraction in women. Not the kind of attraction that can be explained in a checklist or earned through effort, but the kind that comes from something far less tangible, something that many men overlook: emotional impact, instinctual response, and the unspoken signals that bypass logic altogether. You see, real attraction doesn't always reward the good guy, the reliable one, or even the most successful one, and that can be hard to accept. But once you understand the hidden dynamics at play, the subconscious cues, the emotional tension, and the invisible tests, you'll see why doing more isn't always the answer. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about seeing clearly. When you recognize the truth of what really creates desire and what doesn't, you'll begin to move through the world differently, with more clarity, more calm, and more control over your relationships and sense of self-worth. So stay with me until the end, because we're going to uncover the 5 core truths that shift everything. By the final section, you may realize that the most powerful change doesn't come from trying harder, it comes from a deeper understanding. Let's begin. Number 1, women don't choose with logic. They choose through instinctual feeling. You've done everything they said would work. You show up on time. You remember the little things she says. You offer help before she even asks. You're respectful, thoughtful, and consistent. You compliment her. You ask about her day. You even hold the door open. And yet, despite all of that, she drifts away. Her messages grow colder. Her presence shrinks. Her energy fades. You sit there wondering, why? What did I do wrong when I did everything right? That's when it hits you. What makes sense to you? Effort, decency, consistency. Doesn't land the same way for her. She doesn't choose you through logic. She doesn't sit and make a spreadsheet weighing your good traits against your bad ones. She doesn't tally your kindnesses or your compliments like check boxes that lead to love. She chooses through feeling, raw, instinctive, and emotional. Attraction doesn't ask for your resume. It doesn't care about your polite texts or your punctuality. It rises from something much older than reason. It stems from uncertainty, challenge, and presence. When a woman feels drawn to a man, she often can't explain why. It's not that he was the most handsome or generous or moral. It's that he made her feel something she couldn't quite control. Her mind says, he's not perfect, but her body leans in. Her chest tightens when she hears his name. Her thoughts return to him even when she tries to let go. It's not because he impressed her. It's because he disrupted her rhythm. You learn that trying harder doesn't make her feel more. In fact, the more you chase with obvious effort, the more invisible you become. The moment you start performing for approval, hoping your kindness will earn her attraction, something inside her withdraws. Not because kindness is wrong, but because effort isn't what triggers instinct. Presence does. Stillness does. Confidence that doesn't beg. Words don't convince her. Your energy does, your groundedness. Your ability to stay centered even when she tests you emotionally. Your willingness to remain whole without needing her to complete you. You begin to understand that emotional tension isn't the enemy. A little mystery makes her curious. A man who doesn't over-explain himself makes her wonder. A man who listens without trying to fix everything builds depth. You start to embody the kind of calm that makes her heart race. Not because you are trying to provoke her, but because you're not afraid to let things unfold. You stop trying to please and start living from your own truth. You become more compelling not because you're flawless, but because you're self-possessed. And she notices, not immediately, not with words but with energy. Her eyes stay on you longer. Her questions become more personal. She lingers in silence, hoping you'll fill it, but you don't. You're just there, still, real, unafraid of the weight of emotion. You've stopped trying to make her feel safe in the predictable way. Instead, you offer something deeper, the wild safety of being in the presence of a man who isn't afraid of her emotional world. That's when her instincts speak, not in logic, not in lists, but in the way. She starts to open up without knowing why, because now, finally, she feels. Number 2, attraction comes from presence, not effort. You walk into the room and you don't rush to speak. You don't smile too quickly or scan for approval. You simply arrive, still, composed, aware. There's no desperate hunger behind your eyes, no performance unfolding in your body, and yet she feels you before you've said a single word. She notices something shift. It's not what you wear or how you move. It's the quiet weight of your presence, the calm tension in your silence that stirs something deeper than charm ever could. You used to think attraction was about doing more, complimenting more, giving more, and trying harder. You played the role of the good man, believing kindness was currency and generosity the ticket to being chosen. But effort, when it comes from a place of self-doubt or the need to win her over, doesn't feel strong, it feels anxious. Women don't fall for anxiety. They feel safe around stillness. And only when they feel safe do they begin to open. The man who has presence doesn't seek approval. He doesn't try to convince anyone of his worth because he's not in negotiation with himself. He doesn't compete for space, he occupies it. You've seen him before, the man who enters with quiet intensity, whose confidence is not loud but undeniable. He doesn't flatter, he doesn't sell, he doesn't chase. And women respond to that with an instinct they themselves can't explain. It's not his effort they're drawn to. It's the sensation that they're in the gravity of something rare. You remember the times you tried too hard, when you over-explained, when you said yes too quickly, when you were afraid to let silence hang because you feared it meant rejection. But now you've unlearned the belief that value is demonstrated by movement. You know presence speaks louder than gestures. When you look at her, it's steady, not searching. When you listen, it's not to respond, it's to hold space. She leans in because she wants to feel more of that pressure, that quiet pull. Presence doesn't come from strategy. It's the natural result of inner alignment. When your thoughts, actions, and energy no longer scatter outward, looking for proof. You become magnetic. You stop asking, am I enough for her, and start living from the truth that you are. That shift isn't loud, but it's unmistakable. It wraps around every word you don't say. It gives weight to your boundaries, to your stillness, to your walk across a room. That's when she feels something, before she even understands what it is. And in that moment, without even trying, you've already said more than effort ever could. Number 3, women don't desire what they fully understand. They crave mystery. You used to think that being predictable was the right way to win her heart. You showed up exactly when you said you would. You answered her texts within seconds. You shared every detail about your day, your thoughts, and your intentions. You thought this openness would earn her trust and that full transparency would deepen the connection. But instead of pulling her closer, something strange happened. She began to drift. Conversations became shorter. Her replies are less enthusiastic. The lightness in her tone dimmed. You were giving everything, and somehow it felt like you were losing everything. What you didn't realize then is that women don't crave what they completely understand. They don't stay up late thinking about a man who's always available, always agreeable, always easy to read. Desire isn't born from certainty. It's born from curiosity, from wondering what's beneath the surface, from not having the full picture. When you hand someone a puzzle already completed, there's nothing left for them to do. No intrigue, no spark. But when one piece is missing or tilted slightly out of place, attention sharpens, interest ignites. She leans in. Now, you walk a different path. You've learned to hold some things back, not from manipulation, but from intention. You share enough to stay open, but not so much that every corner of you is lit up and labeled. You allow her to wonder. You show glimpses of your world without offering the full map. In doing so, you give her the opportunity to reach, to explore, and to stay emotionally invested. She watches you leave the room and wonders what's on your mind. She hears you speak with confidence, but senses there's a layer behind your words that you haven't offered yet. That space between what she sees and what she doesn't. That space becomes the source of her fascination. Ambiguity, when used with care, is not deception, it's magnetism. It's the contrast between what's revealed and what remains untouched. And when she asks herself, is he busy or is he slipping away? She's not detaching, she's leaning closer. You no longer fear her uncertainty. You understand that a bit of emotional tension is not your enemy. It's the rhythm that keeps her interested. You don't explain every decision. You don't lay your heart bare in the first weeks, because you now recognize that value isn't in constant availability. Value is in restraint, in selectiveness. A man who keeps his world slightly just out of full reach isn't cold or distant. He's compelling. He's the man she can't stop thinking about. And this mystery doesn't make you manipulative. It makes you wise, because attraction isn't just about how much she likes you today. It's about how often you occupy her thoughts tomorrow. You've become the kind of man who knows that not every answer needs to be given. Not every story needs to be told. You leave space for wonder, and in that space, her desire grows. Number 4, women decide based on how the world responds to you. You step into a room and imagine that all eyes fall squarely on you, that her gaze measures your worth like a carefully calibrated scale. What you may not immediately grasp is that her focus is less on what you say or do and far more on how the world around you responds. It's subtle but unmistakable. She watches the way others treat you, the silent signals exchanged before a single word passes your lips. She sees the respect in the nods you receive from other men, the quiet attentiveness as people lean in to hear you, the ease or tension your presence creates in the room. Your words may carry confidence, but if the social landscape doesn't affirm your value, they fall flat. Women possess a keen sensitivity to these social cues because attraction is rarely built on self-promotion alone. It's formed in the reflections others cast back at you. Recall times when you tried to convince her, through stories, boasts, or carefully crafted personas, that you were someone worth her attention. You may have talked about your ambitions, your successes, or your qualities as if listing credentials on a resume. Yet those moments lacked the magnetic pull you sought. Why? Because the world around you wasn't yet speaking the same language you were, no matter how you presented yourself. The unspoken feedback from your social circle, or its absence, spoke louder. True value isn't something you can manufacture with words. It's a quality that emerges when others acknowledge and validate who you are before you even say a word. Now, picture the transformation. You've grown beyond the need to explain your worth, no longer feeling compelled to convince her or anyone else. Instead, your presence carries weight effortlessly. You've cultivated relationships and a lifestyle that silently shouts your value. You walk into a room and people respond with genuine warmth, respect, and recognition. They seek your perspective, defer to your judgment, and create space for you simply because you've earned it. This silent affirmation from your environment speaks volumes. It tells her that you are a man of substance, not because you say it, but because the world believes it. Women instinctively tune into this dynamic. Their attraction doesn't stem from flashy declarations or rehearsed lines. It originates from witnessing how you are woven into the social fabric. She notices when your opinions hold sway, when your calm confidence shifts the energy of those around you, when you belong in a way that feels natural and unforced. This is not a performance, but an authentic presence, the kind that commands attention without demanding it. To her, this social proof is the truest form of attraction because it signals stability, strength, and genuine worth. The lesson is clear: you don't need to be the loudest or the most overt in proclaiming your value. Instead, focus on living in a way that earns the respect and admiration of those around you. Build connections that affirm your character. Nurture qualities that others recognize and appreciate. When you do, you create an invisible aura that precedes you, a reputation that communicates what words cannot. She will feel it, without you having to say a thing. Ultimately, she decides based not on what you tell her, but on what the world whispers about you. Her choice reflects the collective impression of your status and standing. When others see you as a man who belongs, who matters, who is worthy, she will see it too. This is the power of social proof, an unspoken truth that shapes attraction far more deeply than any self-promotion ever could. And when you embrace this reality, you step into a space where authenticity and respect converge, drawing her closer not through persuasion, but through undeniable presence. Number 5, real value is shown in your boundaries and your ability to walk away. You find yourself at a crossroads when she suddenly pulls away, growing silent or distant without explanation. These moments can feel confusing, even painful, but they are never accidental. What she's doing is testing your strength, your confidence, and your value. When a woman uses silence or tries to provoke jealousy, she's not trying to hurt you. She's quietly assessing whether you have the power to stand firm without losing yourself in the process. This is the moment where many men stumble, rushing to fix the silence with frantic texts or long explanations, hoping to regain her attention and approval. Yet in doing so, they reveal insecurity and desperation, inadvertently pushing her further away. You might be tempted to plead or argue to reclaim her interest, but true power lies in your ability to remain calm and composed. Real value is demonstrated not by how loudly you fight to keep her close, but by how gracefully you can step back when respect fades. It is in the silent withdrawal, the refusal to bargain with your dignity, that you make your strongest statement, walking away quietly, without anger or bitterness. Shows you understand your worth and refuse to settle for less than you deserve. This detachment is not rejection, but a boundary, a line drawn clearly to protect your self-respect and emotional health. Women are not drawn to submission or those who chase after them with needy energy. They are attracted to men who hold firm boundaries and make it clear that love and respect are earned through mutual effort, not demanded or begged for. When you set clear limits and calmly disengage from situations where respect is lacking, you create a dynamic of healthy tension that draws her back out of curiosity and admiration rather than obligation. Boundaries are often misunderstood as walls, but they are really the framework of trust and safety on which lasting intimacy is built. Imagine the difference between a man who crumbles under rejection and one who quietly walks away, knowing he will return only when the respect returns. The former creates chaos and instability, pushing a woman to pull away more. The latter exudes a silent confidence that commands attention by simply refusing to be less than he is. This kind of strength is magnetic. It is the difference between appearing desperate and appearing indispensable. The power to walk away calmly is a profound form of emotional intelligence. It signals that you value yourself enough never to be trapped in a relationship that diminishes your worth. Walking away does not mean giving up, but rather protecting your integrity and sending a clear message you will not break your frame for anyone. This stance invites respect naturally and forces a woman to reflect on her behavior. It encourages her to step up and meet you on equal footing, rather than continue playing games that test your limits. Over time, this approach filters out unhealthy patterns and attracts partners who value you deeply for who you are, rather than what you can provide in moments of weakness. By mastering this, you not only elevate your own sense of self-worth, but also raise the standards of your relationships. You create space where love grows free of manipulation and fear. This is the hallmark of a high-value man, the ability to balance strength and vulnerability with grace to foster connections built on genuine respect and authenticity. The silent power of walking away is the strongest signal you can send that you are a man who knows his worth and refuses to settle for anything less. In practicing this discipline, you become a man who doesn't just attract women, but inspires them. You show that true attraction arises from presence and boundaries, not from pleading or control. This lesson, once understood, transforms your approach to relationships forever, creating a foundation for emotional security and lasting connection. Walking away with dignity isn't giving up. It's standing up for yourself in the most powerful way possible. Conclusion: don't beg to be chosen. Become the man who chooses. This conversation invites us to question the scripts we've been taught about attraction, relationships, and male value. Many men grow up believing that if they simply follow the rules, be kind, be available, be consistent, they'll naturally win a woman's affection. But reality tells a different story. What truly captures a woman's attention and desire isn't logical or even fair. It's instinctual, emotional, and often unpredictable. That doesn't make it wrong, it just makes it real. And the sooner we accept that attraction is governed by emotion, not reason, the sooner we can begin to relate with clarity and strength. What makes a man desirable isn't how hard he tries, but how deeply he knows himself. It's not the gifts he gives or the words he says. It's the gravity of his presence, the quiet confidence in his boundaries, and his ability to create emotional space without demanding anything in return. When a man no longer chases validation, when he no longer bends over backward to be accepted, he becomes the one who chooses, not the one waiting to be chosen. That shift changes everything. And this isn't about manipulation or withholding love. It's about self-respect. It's about understanding that your value doesn't increase because someone finally sees it. It exists whether they see it or not. A man who lives from that truth doesn't panic when tested, doesn't lose himself when someone pulls away, and doesn't beg to be understood. He walks with calm conviction, knowing that what's real will stay, and what's not meant for him will fall away. If you've ever felt confused, frustrated, or disheartened by the gap between what society tells you and what you actually experience, Know that you're not alone, but also know that you're not powerless. You can shift from trying to earn someone's attention to embodying the kind of presence that naturally commands it. You can stop waiting for approval and start living with intention. What are your thoughts on this perspective? Have you experienced moments where emotional presence made a bigger impact than effort ever could? I'd love to hear about your experiences, so feel free to share them in the comments. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to explore together.